All right. Let me see. It's a little bit laggy right here. There it is. Okay, it's finally caught up. All right. All right. Hello, world. I'm Don, and you're watching Showcase for the week ending Sunday, September 25th, 2022. This is our Friday show, and of course, that means trailers and your live chat comments. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscription button and the subscription bell as usual. And don't forget, if you have any trailers, weird news headlines, or dad jokes to suggest, please use the contact form on our Linktree page that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen right about now. There we go. Please no religious or political content. Keep the suggestions recent and the trailers under 5 minutes long. And as always, if you're with us live, drop us a line in the live chat and I might read it off on the air. So let's go ahead and get the ball rolling here with... There it is. Yep, thank you, Control. All right, let's go ahead and get rolling with the first order of business in this week's playlist, which comes to us from the good people at FORTNITE. This is the first, well, I guess there really is only the one that's necessary because the thing is out now, basically. But this is the cinematic trailer for Chapter 3, Season 4 that actually just dropped earlier this week. This is a very big deal for people who are fans of the game. And I guess let's go ahead and dive right in. Here's FORTNITE's Chapter 3, Season 4 trailer.
Tell me you're getting somewhere. We've already lost so much of the island to that chrome.
That's not surprising given the sample's behavior. I've never seen such accelerated psychokinesis. Whoa! I'm starting to think this may be a problem.
Get out of here! That's Uno!
This isn't how it ends.
Okay. I don't know why every character with a flying Iron Man style suit it always goes to the first person display like that. Well, not first person, the helmet cam.
Suit integrity compromised. There has to be a way to fix this. Aligning to reality. 6, 5, 9.
Okay. So, all right. I'm just gonna go ahead and start off with the first response that comes to my mind immediately, which is, I can't believe that we haven't really come up with another way to innovate the idea of showing the facial expressions and the body language and sort of humanizing the person in a giant Iron Man suit. We haven't found a better way to do that since, well, Iron Man in like 2008, because that's every single time we've seen in popular culture, movies, television, and now video games, almost every time that we see somebody in some sort of technological suit that's reminiscent of Iron Man, it always has to go into that helmet cam perspective. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to remember, was it the 4th or 5th season of Supergirl, for example? They introduced this special suit for her to use that was very much Iron Man-ish, right down to the point where they had a helmet cam for her when she was using that suit. And it's like, okay, I guess let's go ahead and go back to the well there. I will say this particular, what they're suggesting that the game kind of is in the process of becoming here, this is very creepily reminiscent of some real world scientific headlines that were all over the news several years ago. Some of you watching may recall the Large Hadron Collider experiment that was intended to find what's called the God particle, basically like the origins of existence. And there were a lot of concerns that were expressed about sort of the safety of using this collider, basically, simply because of what can happen in these sort of weird science fiction-y nightmare scenarios, quite frankly, where I remember reading one that always stuck out with me. It was really nightmare fuel, honestly, where you have where strange particles, they're literally called strange particles. You can Google this. Strangelets can be created in the collider, and if one of these strangelets comes into contact with any other matter, that other matter instantaneously becomes strange matter also. So then a runaway chain reaction sort of happens at a molecular level where the entire planet becomes made of strange matter instantaneously. It's really crazy. And that's what this kind of reminds me of, where the whole world sort of becomes chrome. This is immediately where my brain went to, is like the Large Hadron Collider experiment gone horribly, horribly wrong. But it's Fortnite, so I'm sure they have a plan for this in the long game. But I just it's Fortnite, so I mean, it can only go so far. I mean, nobody really takes this sort of thing really seriously. Nobody plays Fortnite for the story. I would wager nobody actually plays Fortnite for the story. It's more about sort of the community and the creation aspect, basically. People making their own environments and stuff. So this is them like really trying hard to make some serious mythology and story escalation with with this game. So I'll give it a tentative side thumb. We'll see where this goes. I hate to sort of start off our playlist with a reaction like that, but it kind of is what it is. These are my reactions basically, and I got to give that a side thumb offhand. But anyway, that's Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 4. Let's go ahead and move on. We have a bunch more trailers to get to tonight. Next item is from Nintendo, or at least this particular version of this game is from Nintendo. I'm not sure if this is cross-platform, but this is Disney Dreamlight Valley, which, as I understand it, is a very popular game right now. I don't know very much about this game. From what I understand, it's a weird sort of like, you get to meet and interact with various famous Disney characters in sort of like a more it's a more sort of exploratory and casual sort of environment than something that has a serious narrative and a mythology to it, like with what the Kingdom Hearts games did. This is a little bit less hardcore than that, is my understanding. Let's see if that understanding is correct, or how correct it is, or incorrect, as it were. Here's Disney Dreamlight Valley, the Toy Story Realm reveal trailer, I guess, which came out earlier this week. Yep, Disney characters wandering around. We got the right voices.
Hey there!
Did Woody get a tan? I don't like that Woody voice, unless they're deliberately trying to make it sound like the pull string, the original voice, the original Woody voice that came from pull string. They got the run cycle animation good.
Here you are.
Really?
Thanks. Roger that. Yeah!
Okay, that was Disney Dreamlight Valley, which apparently is at the very least available on Switch. And already, I guess the base game is, and the Toy Story expansion, I guess, is going to be released later on this fall. Brain Spaz throwing us some comment in the YouTube channel. Thanks so much, Brain Spaz. Good to see you again. Looks like fun. Yeah, it does look like fun on a very sort of specific sense, and that is just basically for those who are more interested in casual exploration for video games that heavily center around pre-existing IPs. There doesn't seem to be very much going on here in terms of narrative, which I guess is kind of the point. From as much as I can tell with this, it's just a lot less emotional stakes involved with all these pre-established Disney character interactions. So from the standpoint, if you understand this from the standpoint of being excuse me, from the standpoint of being deliberately the antithesis of Kingdom Hearts, I can see why this is very successful. I can see why people are talking about this game right now. You know, if you are into something that sort of wears its mythology on its sleeve, I don't get that from this, mainly because I don't see any sort of indication of if there is anything like that in Dreamlight Valley. How does the Toy Story pack connect with the larger mythology of the base game that's already out right now, that they're ultimately promoting with this? You know, they're clearly trying available today and then play the Toy Story Adventure this fall. So clearly everything in this trailer isn't out yet, but they want to go ahead and build off the momentum of something that people can already go out to the Nintendo store, the Nintendo eShop and buy. So I'm inclined to just you know what? This is killing me. These first two trailers are killing me tonight. You know what? Because I'm just going to go ahead and say a thing on this and then hope I'm proven wrong in the long run. But I got to make a decision on this. And my decision is basically to just give Dreamlight Valley a thumbs down. I have to give Disney Dreamlight Valley a thumbs down. Just because, like, there's no... And this is mostly personal bias when I say this, when I make this explanation here. There's no real sort of specific indication of the stakes of, like, why we play this game, why we're into this game, like, other than just, hey, it's a chance to interact with your favorite Disney characters. That's really pretty much it, you know. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I'm just gonna be honest, the Kingdom Hearts games did that better, though. I really don't see why I should play Dreamlight Valley. Like, I did not get that from this trailer, and will it get me to play? Will this trailer get me to play that game? No, it will not. I would have to do more research into the base game, because Toy Story in and of itself isn't gonna do it. The graphics look great, though. I will say that, and it sounds like they got, at the very least, recordings of Tim Allen for Buzz. It sounds like, because that did not sound like the Chris Evans version that we got in the movies earlier this year. So anyway, that's my reaction for Disney Dreamlight Valley. Let's go ahead and move on to the next trailer. By the way, thanks so much again for joining me at home. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscription button if you haven't already, and follow and all that sort of thing, because we're broadcasting live right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. If you have any trailers, weird news headlines, or dad jokes to suggest, don't forget to use the contact form on our Linktree page that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Just remember, please, no religious or political content. Keep the suggestions recent and the trailers under 5 minutes long. And as always, if you're with us live as we go along with this broadcast, please drop us a line in the live chat, and I just might read it off on the air. So let's go ahead and move on to the next item on the list, which comes to us, another thing from Nintendo, actually. This is from the Mario Strikers franchise. I'm trying to remember how many games this is. This is either like the third or fourth game in the Mario Strikers franchise, which is one of various spin-offs that are sports-oriented of the Super Mario franchise. Strikers, in particular, centers around what the rest of the world calls football and what we call soccer. And from what I've seen, this game is wildly popular, and there's apparently more characters that are about to be released as part of this free update that apparently just came out, judging by the title on the bottom of this thumbnail. Second free update available now. So apparently these guys are using this footage to promote something that's already out. No waiting. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and take a look. Here is Mario Strikers Battle League, free update number 2. So, I have some comments on Pauline, but I'm going to let this go for now. We'll talk about it in a moment. Okay. Okay, that's nice. That was some serious nostalgia there. The rocket barrels. Apparently everyone gets barrels now. Okay. I don't get this. Why are you releasing a DLC? I'm not complaining, but why are you releasing a DLC stadium area that's reminiscent of Mario Galaxy? It has nothing to do with a game that Pauline has been in, and certainly nothing to do with the Donkey Kong franchise. I don't get that. I gotta say, I don't get that at all. This is, jeez, I'm trying to make sense of this here. Because, all right, let me go ahead and start over from the beginning here. The idea of Pauline in this game, for those of you who aren't familiar with this character, Pauline was the original Princess Peach, basically. Like, she was the one who was introduced at the same time that Mario was, way back in I think it was like 1982 when Mario's name was Jumpman, the original Donkey Kong arcade game. She was the damsel in distress for that. And if you know, archetypes, I know. Sorry, I didn't make the game, but anyway, it was only over the course of when she was reintroduced to modern gaming audiences during Mario Odyssey that we started to get more of an indicator about who she is as far as a character that stands completely apart from the, let's call them the princess template characters of the Mario franchise, which basically boiled down to 3 characters: Peach, Daisy, and Rosalina. This character doesn't really have very much going on, it would seem, as far as like what to stand apart with ability wise, other than the ability to sing and occasionally apparently politics, because those of you who may remember in Mario Odyssey, she was the mayor of a city in that game, if I remember right. So I get the need to sort of like, or not the need, the instinct to sort of Smash Brothers all these different Nintendo characters, or as many as possible, into this game. I'm curious about like if that's really all that they could do with that. Like you know what? I'm going to take that back because I'm not really in very much of a position to be able to really offer very much in terms of what else to use instead. So I'm not going to put too much criticism on that necessarily. I will say these animations look amazing, especially when they get into serious like battle attacks, like what you just saw there with these special animations, and like what you're going to see again in a moment from now with the way they have Diddy Kong blasting out of a barrel. This art style that they use, that's very sort of like edgy and exaggerated, as opposed to these CGI rendered shots when these special super moves start. This one right here, for example, with the barrel cannon thing, basically, that's very reminiscent of the original Donkey Kong Country games from the 90s. You know, this made me happy to see that we were actually sort of bringing some of that back, just from a raw nostalgia aspect of it. I don't understand why everybody has barrel gear now, though. Like, I guess that's obviously sort of tied into why Diddy is there. But again, with you're referencing Mario Galaxy, basically, and introducing characters and costume customizations that have nothing to do with those games, actually, because there were 2 Galaxy games. I don't get that, quite frankly, but I don't know. Those of you who are already fans of this game, feel free to drop a comment, you know, what your thoughts are on this. If you already got this game or you're looking forward to this game, or if this is the deal closer to make you want to buy this game. I personally am going to give it a side thumb. I want to give it a thumbs up, like I said, because of the diversity of characters in this game, and it's continually being expanded. The updates are still supporting this game and keeping the community alive. You know, I like what they're doing with this on the surface. There's just a couple of little nitpicky sort of things that strike me as ultimately pointless, but it's one of the most poorly kept secrets that I'm not a Nintendo person. Certainly not since about 2006 when I jumped ship over to Xbox. So anyway, that's basically verdict on Mario Strikers Battle League. What are your thoughts? Drop us a comment in the live chat and I might read it off on the air. Let's move on. We have 5 more to go. We're coming up on the halfway point right now. Let's go ahead and move on to something from Apple TV Plus. This is the 2nd season trailer for a project that I have not heard of before, mainly because I don't have Apple TV Plus. But apparently this trailer came out earlier this week, so we have to sort of bring it up. Let's go ahead and take a look at Wolf Boy and the Everything Factory. Okay.
And he goes and he goes and he goes and he goes.
Wow.
Like a wild
Hey!
he's a wild child.
Hey!
He's a human.
I'm not a human. I'm, whatever you guys are. What is this place?
This is the Everything Factory. This is where we create things for the world. Trees, the weather, even life.
That looks like Venusaur. Almost.
Hello.
Every single thing we create, this race destroys.
You are the boy the prophecy speaks of. You will defeat the darkness.
You might want to hold on to something.
This is so adventure-y!
We're going to change the world.
I'm worried I might let everyone down.
That's why we have each other.
Okay, so that was Wolf Boy and the Everything Factory, which I think I just saw it's gonna hit Apple TV Plus on September 30th. Yep, all the complete season. Apple's dropping everything in one shot. Okay, so basically, I'm just gonna go ahead and reiterate something. The intended demographic for this show, for Weekend Showcase, is supposed to be mid-20s to mid-30s. And when I look at this, I think of something that is spiritually, stylistically not unlike something like Adventure Time, where it can it's intended for kids, but there are other elements of how the story presents itself or the jokes that are done. I would put SpongeBob in the same category as well. It's clear that the demographic is intended to be ultimately kids, but there's some little Easter eggs in there that older crowds or that parents can get can follow along with and sort of get mildly amused by, sort of if they happen to catch that in passing or whatever. I can't tell if Wolf Boy is necessarily that, or if it is so deliberately skewed to kids that basically this demographic for this show probably shouldn't even be looking at it. I'm not even really sure from this trailer. I'm going to take the high road and sort of interpret this as being the former category. Like, this is something that the older crowd that, used to watch SpongeBob as kids and wound up getting sucked into more modern shows of the Cartoon Network variety before Warner Discovery started burning down. The Adventure Times, like I said, Steven Universe, another really good example. I don't really get the ultimate point of the story from this trailer, other than you have a character that's trying to find his place in a world where quite literally anything is possible. I mean, you're telling a story that's fundamentally built around an idea of raw creation and sort of the limitless possibilities that entails. But I'm not really sure where the thread is coming from. Like, what is the center of gravity? What is the narrative center of gravity that all of this imaginative possibility sort of comes from? Like, I'm reminded of a Nicktoon that came out in the 90s called Chalk Zone. And basically the whole point of that show was to sort of explore what happens to things that you write or draw on a chalkboard, that where do they go when they get erased from the board? It's a whole nother world on the other side of the chalkboard. And, there's all these sort of allegorical inferences you can sort of pull out from that show, as far as, what do ideas have a life of their own, have a mind of their own? And how would these ideas sort of interact with each other? What would happen if you crossed over into that realm? And what does that do to your perception of not just that world or the real world that we live in, but also just reality as a whole? What does it mean for your perception of existence, knowing that you can literally physically interact with your ideas, with your own ideas? And they had good chalk characters, they had bad chalk characters, and there was sort of like a through line that we were able to sort of follow, because we had a relatable audience viewpoint character with Rudy, the kid with the chalk. That was our audience, that was our main character. That was sort of our audience viewpoint character, basically. And this, I see glimmers of what Chalk Zone was in this, but I don't get enough sense of the stakes in that. This is I'm gonna give this 3/4 of a thumbs up, and this is my nostalgia side talking when I say this. I'm gonna give this 3/4 thumb up with that. I can't give this a full thumbs up because, like, again, it feels like this trailer is missing something. I don't know what is really there about this project to necessarily motivate me to watch this. But I like the art design. I will say that I like the art design. I'm not really sure what else this thing has really going for it. I may need to see some other footage or rewatch this. Maybe there's some stuff that I missed the first time around. But anyway, that's just my first impression on Wolf Boy and the Everything Factory, which apparently all episodes are dropping on Apple TV Plus on September 30th, for those of you who are subscribed to that platform. We have hit the halfway point on the show already on the playlist, so that's we're making good time overall. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you have any trailers, weird news headlines, or dad jokes to suggest, because don't forget, we'll be doing our dad joke of the day at the end of the show tonight. If you have any of those to suggest, use the contact form on our Linktree page that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Just remember, please no religious or political content, and keep the suggestions recent and the trailers under 5 minutes long. And as always, if you're with us live, drop us a line in the live chat, and I just might read it off on the air. Don't be shy. I won't bite. Let's go ahead and move on to the next item, which comes to us from Walt Disney Animation Studios. This is the first official full trailer for Strange World, which is apparently I saw the trailer. I actually saw the teaser for this several months ago. I think we actually covered that on this show. I couldn't really make out like very much of this. It seems like this is one of those sort of family unity exploration sort of stories, basically just sort of mishmashed together with that Jules Verne story, Journey to the Center of the Earth, right? I think that was Jules Verne. Somebody correct me in the comments feed if I'm referencing that wrong. I think that was Jules Verne that did Journey to the Center of the Earth. But anyway, this is the first official full trailer now for Strange World. Hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit more indication about what the story is going to be about this time. So let's take a look.
What kind of airship is that?
I've never seen anything like it! Baby Clade! What is the president doing in our front yard?
Our entire world is in grave danger. I want you to come with me on an expedition.
I'm not my father. He was
Crazy
the explorer.
I know you were just a kid when you went missing, but now you're all we got.
Mr. Clade, I'm a huge fan
thank you.
of your dad. Do you think you could forge his autograph?
What? Where world are we?
Ethan, you brought the dog?
Sorry!
We are clearly in uncharted territory.
Whoa.
Hello. You probably don't understand a word I'm saying.
Of course I understand you.
Huh?
Dad? Dad? Grandpa?
I'm a grandpa.
What is this place?
The cliffs are alive, and the waters dissolve the flesh off your bones.
Everything down here is trying to kill us.
Do you mind if I call you Splat? You just kind of give me Splat vibes. Ow! I guess I deserve that. Grandpa's awesome!
He is not awesome! You gave me a machete for my birthday?
Classic Jaeger Clade.
I was 2.
I'm loving this family reunion, but come on, we got a world to save.
We need you to figure this out, otherwise we're doomed. We are doomed!
Wait, seriously?
No, I'm just messing with you.
Wait a minute.
Didn't see that coming.
Kayla gave me some messages. Okay, there you go. So there's your release date. That was Strange World, which apparently is going directly to theaters. I guess we're not getting that on Disney Plus for some time. But yeah, November 23rd, just in time for Thanksgiving, I guess. I got some mixed messages from the very end of that, because a character went and said they're trying to save the world. I thought this story was I thought the catalyst for this was basically a rescue operation. You know, I'm not, this almost sort of strikes me as the right kind of trailer where like not too much is given away, but you at least get an indication about how things are sort of starting off and sort of bullet points of important events over the course of the story to sort of like draw you in to see how things sort of play out. and it's really easy to get frustrated with trailers and projects that the trailers are purportedly promoting that either show too much or not enough, especially when it's too much, because nobody likes spoilers, especially if something that's not even out yet, and especially when the studio or the production company or whatever basically didn't do a good enough job of not tipping their poker hand. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give this thing, boy, at least this thing didn't frustrate me with no indication of what any of the stakes are. So on that standpoint, I'm going to give this a thumbs up. I'll give this Strange World thing a thumbs up. Also because I like stories that basically do interesting and engaging sort of explorations of unknown territories, basically. Within reason, so long as they're not done in a way that's needlessly sort of campy. Like, I'll give you an example. Okay. The Brendan Fraser Journey to the Center of the Earth, I liked. The Dwayne Johnson Journey to the Center of the Earth, the sequel, I did not really like. That's just me. This sort of looks to me like it's very uniquely it sort of tonally feels like a cross between what Brendan Fraser did with that first Journey to the Center of the Earth film, loosely crossed with what I would expect from, like the trailer said, the studio that did Encanto and Big Hero 6, basically. They've really stepped up their graphical animation game, especially as compared to Big Hero 6, which I know that wasn't really their intention with that in terms of what the character designs and the world designs were for San Francisco, which is the setting of that movie. This is very much sort of tonally and visually and graphically sort of picking up where Encanto left off, but with a way more sort of fantastical design scheme and aesthetic to it, which I'm fascinated by, especially when you're talking about a story that takes place with these amongst these crazy and bizarre creatures and ecosystem. I'm curious if there are going to be like parallels to draw between the world that they're exploring and the real world that we have right now that we're living in, which is another way that I know to say, basically, are there going to be sort of ecological sort of anti-climate change sort of messages in this movie, basically? And more importantly, how do they handle it? Because there are ways to do that without indirectly sort of antagonizing, the overly sensitive, I guess you can call it that. No, I'm not going to call it overly sensitive. But basically what I'm saying is I'm reminded of, I think it was 2013 when Universal put out the Lorax. There was a subset of critiques that were put out about that movie where it just sort of hit people over the head with the environmentalism and the conservation messages of that story, which are important, to be fair. But it, I guess, came across to them like there was just too much screen space, too much story time devoted to that. So it was hard to sort of really like enjoy the movie when it's too busy sort of conveying a specific message, basically. I don't know. And that was the case with the Lorax. I hope we don't get, that same sort of pratfall with this, because this looks like a really interesting and engaging film, especially to take families to see. I can see this being a really successful movie. So yeah, I'll give it a thumbs up for Strange World, which is going to hit theaters on November 23rd. So let's go ahead and move on. Next up is a thing from Universal. I was just talking about them a moment ago with the Lorax. This is the official trailer for Knock at the Cabin. I don't know a thing about this movie. Let's take a look.
Are we gonna sing along?
Yes, of course!
I wanna put on my boogie shoes.
Yeah!
Is that Jonathan Groff on the right?
I wanna put on my boogie shoes.
I can't look at that guy without thinking of Agent Smith now. Or King George. And now we are trying to be Jordan Peele. All right. Or him. That was going to be my next guess.
name is Leonard. Well, it's nice to meet you, Will.
Why are you here?
I suppose I'm here to make friends with you. And your dad's too. But my heart is broken.
Why is it broken?
Because of what I have to do today.
There I see a woman carrying something that looks like a pick with a chain and a mallet in it.
You see, the four of us have a very important job to do. In fact, it might be the most important job in the history of the world. We were called and are united by a common vision, which has now become a command that we cannot ignore. The four of us are here to prevent the apocalypse. Your family has been chosen to make a horrible decision. If you fail to choose, the world will end.
So, yeah, this is this is Shyamalan being Shyamalan right here, definitely. I don't understand it. I saw the comment from Brain Spaz here. What? Yeah. Okay. So this is trying to prevent some sort of apocalypse, I suppose, is the takeaway from this. I man. I see. I just got done having a bunch of reactions to other movies, or sorry, other like projects, television projects, and game trailers that I just got done criticizing for not really giving very much information to work with about what it's really about, what the trajectory of the story ultimately is. And now here we follow that up with M. Night Shyamalan. Oh boy. One of the most famously vague directors in the world. Okay. So, I like the casting from just the people that I can recognize. You know, Jonathan Groff I mentioned. That's obviously Dave Bautista in there. And I'm not sure if that was Ed Sheeran that was standing to the left of Bautista there. But, this is... I have a really sort of cringeworthy feeling that it's going to be something dumb, whatever the reveal is here, because you know there's going to be some sort of crazy reveal at the end of this movie, because it's an M. Night Shyamalan production, and all of his productions, you know, except for the Last Airbender thing that almost completely destroyed his career the first time, which was an adaptation of a pre-existing IP. All of his original stuff, there's always some sort of a twist that comes up at the end. And I mean, he's just coming off of Old, which, depending on who you talk to, was okay, but it wasn't great. And certainly not his best work. Like, Old certainly was not The Sixth Sense. Nor was it Split. But this sort of feels like something that is sort of trying to, at the very least, tonally step up from where Shyamalan left off with Old, which that can go one of two ways. It can either be Unbreakable, or it can be Glass. That's a very dangerous sort of comparison to wind up making in the mind of the audience, which that's happening in my mind right now. It's basically a coin toss, how this particular movie, how this story, how this twist is going to work itself out. It's either going to make the entire movie and the entire story as a whole look like Unbreakable, amazing, or Glass, comparatively embarrassing, especially when compared with what he had just done, which was Split. So Well, not just done. I'm trying to remember. Like there was it had to have been at least 2-3 year gap between, because Split I think came out in 2016 and Glass came out in early of 19. So I think that's it. I think that's that 3 year gap there. But it's been a couple years since Old, I think, roughly. Um, I'm going to say something I've never said before. I'm going to give this a quarter thumb. Not a half thumb. I'm going to give this a quarter thumb. And I say this mainly because I'm sorry, this is Shyamalan, and I want this to impress me, but my expectations are really low as far as what this thing is actually going to be like. I don't really have great expectations from this movie, and the trailer doesn't really provide it doesn't really convey very much confidence in this film being, able to bring a solid and surprising and worthwhile revelation to the table, especially when you've got the stakes raised so high as to suggest a global apocalypse is at stake, is on the table here. I don't know, but apparently this is hitting theaters on February 3rd. Good thing it's not on February 2nd, because basically that would mean like we're gonna have to repeat the same day over and over and over. We'll never be able to get past the day of release. Oh my god, we're trapped watching this movie forever. Anyway, that Groundhog Day reference sounded funnier in my head. Sorry. Anyway, let's move on. Thanks so much for watching Weekend Showcase. We're doing trailer reactions live on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Don't forget to smash that like button and the subscription and follow buttons as well. If you have any trailers, weird news headlines, or dad jokes to suggest that we use here on the show, use the contact form on our Linktree page that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Just please no religious or political content. Keep the suggestions recent and the trailers under 5 minutes long. And as always, if you're here live or if you have any comments to suggest after the fact, you don't have to be here to drop a comment. Drop us a comment or a live chat if you're with me live, and I might read it off on the air. Let's go ahead and keep rolling with the last two of the night. These are decidedly horror kind of content pieces here. One's a TV show and one's a movie reboot. Both, it looks like, are really sort of scary and really dark. Viewer discretion is advised, I think, is the right thing to say to this. Adult Swim, all kids out of the pool. To briefly flashback to 2001-ish. But I guess let's go ahead and get started. We got to get these two done before this last 15 minutes and we get to the top of the hour. So, Chucky, this is the TV series spinoff of the Child's Play movies, of which there have been, if I'm not mistaken, 7. Technically 8, but the true fans of the franchise don't really count that other one that was made with, what was it? Oh, God, the Mark Hamill version. Yeah, we don't count that one. We count the ones that were Don Mancini and David Kirshner. Those two guys. So long as they're involved, that's canon. That other movie was not canon. We all know this. But anyway, they came back instead of doing another movie after Cult of Chucky, I think was the last one. They came back and did a TV series for USA that was simulcast with the Sci-Fi Network. And it wound up being a really surprisingly successful show. I watched several episodes of season 1. I did not expect to come away enjoying that movie. Enjoying the show as much as I did. And the reason I wound up actually following season 1 actually boiled down to the origin story of Chucky himself, because that's what the lion's share of the story for the show, at least as far as season 1 is concerned, was about. It was sort of giving us sort of a behind the curtain sort of look into what made Chucky into Chucky. And so apparently we're getting more of that. We did get a season 2 renewal, obviously. They have a trailer out now, and I think the next season's about to start in a couple weeks. A few weeks, basically. I'm pretty sure it's going to be out in time for Halloween, because something like that, I mean, content like this and Hellraiser, which is the next one, you don't release stuff like this early in the year or during summer. You drop this in time for Halloween. It's pretty obvious. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at season 2 of Chucky from USA Network.
soon they'll be placed in a facility with other violent juvenile offenders.
They could learn from their mistakes by thinking on their sins.
So that's how they're going ahead and continuing.
Lord.
Sorry.
You've suffered great pain in your young life. Chucky's gonna come for us again.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 3 days since my last confession.
Yes, right.
That's me in the corner.
We don't know how many Chuckies are out there.
Great. Another killer doll with a shady plan.
That's an interesting song choice.
How many of you are there?
Wait, you got a knife? Yeah, I got a knife. They passed them out at orientation.
Don't make me come back there.
I was gonna take over the world, but weren't for that bitch from hell.
Glinda, it's so nice to see your sweet faces.
Mom, who the hell is Nika Pierce?
Your mother is a psychotic murderer who thinks she's in love with me, and she chopped off all my limbs, and she's kept me trapped in here for a year.
Mom's a murderer. Mom's a lesbian?
There is an evil in our midst, and we must confront it. I'm the MVP of serial murder. I mean, I've killed more people than you have Insta followers.
Never stop fighting.
Won't you just die, Chucky?
I am risen! And it didn't even take me 3 days.
Losing my religion.
Yeah. So, comment from Ms. D: keep the children far away from Chucky's murder and mayhem. Yeah, that's an understatement right there. So there you go. Okay, how to sort of boil this reaction down. So, okay. It's funny. I had just got done explaining like no religious content, and like there's clearly like gonna be some serious like sort of undertones of that, it would seem, over the course of, at the very least, this particular season of this show. There was not remotely this much. Like this looks like a some sort of, I guess, Catholic boarding school sort of setting for this particular season, as opposed to season 1, which just had the main characters in a regular public school, which sort of makes sense given the resolution of how season 1 basically ended, which I'm not going to spoil for those of you who have not seen season 1. I'm not sure why they brought in. I'm not sure why they're treating the Glenn and Glenda characters as two whole separate people. Because if those of you who don't know, that's actually Chucky and Tiffany's kid, and then parentheses kid/kids, because basically that's a character that was introduced in the 5th film, I want to say it was, Seed of Chucky, and that character was treated very interestingly, as far as basically that story was executed in a way that allowed this character to play fast and loose with their own identity, basically, in terms of gender, quite frankly. And that's all I can say about that. Number 1, without spoiling anything, but number 2, without actually commenting on that, because that can be a very hot button issue in general, anywhere that you comment on that sort of thing. So I'm going to try to keep this focused on here. But I'm intrigued and confused about why / how the one character got sort of split into two separate people. I remember reading a news article about this, and they did bring in a new actor for that character, but apparently the same person is doing both roles. The male Glenn and the female Glenda. So I'm not really certain about why that was necessary. I guess this is just one of those things to file under, I guess, watch to find out. But anyway, hopefully it makes sense. I guess, I don't know. Like, my expectations are kind of low because I wasn't really expecting this to sort of go any further than season 1, honestly. Like, I'm depending on how this season goes, I'm going to wind up deciding that they really should have stopped after 1, exit on a high point. But I don't know. Thumb rating. 3/4 thumb. I'm gonna give this a 3/4 thumb because the first season I would give a thumbs up to season 1, but the way that 2 is looking, there's too much. There seems to be sort of a lot of unnecessary to this, and I don't really know what they're planning to do here. Are we getting any more flashbacks? Are we getting any more events around Charles Lee Ray? Are we getting any more explanations about the other causative elements in his life, basically? Or are we just sort of like hopscotching? I'm trying to remember if they covered like everything up to the beginning of the first film that actually showed his origin as the doll. I'm trying to remember how the last episode of season 1 ended, if they actually covered that there. Or if they just like ran out of stuff to flashback to. But my expectations for this upcoming season are kind of low. I'll check it out, but I don't know. Jason JJ, hey, checking us out on Facebook. Good to see you again. Howdy. Thanks so much for watching. Yeah, so I guess that's all that can be said about this. More is going to have to be sort of found out once season 2 of this Chucky show drops on USA and the Sci-Fi Network concurrently on October 5. So we have 1 trailer left and about 6 minutes left before the end of the hour. So let's go ahead and dive into this 2-minute trailer. Here's the HELLRAISER reboot, which is coming to Hulu, directly to Hulu. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. So let's take a look.
Beautiful, isn't it? It's really nice. You can hold it.
Goran Visnik from ER and Timeless.
It's a puzzle. And it's almost finished. Keep going. So if I solve it, do I get a prize? I do.
It has 6 sides, 6 configurations. It opens up and it cuts you. And then they come to collect.
It's time. Greater delights await. We wish to see you proceed. Feed it. Their blood, their pain. All for us. What is it you pray for?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that's Pinhead. It would seem that Pinhead has returned from the annals of Clive Barker's worst nightmares, I guess it would seem, or best nightmares, depending on how you look at it, because that movie wound up spinning off a lot of sequels and actually wound up being pretty successful. I don't know why this is getting remade. I can't think of anything about this that really was necessary, quite frankly. I know that this reboot has been in the works for a long time. I just this is not my cup of tea. I wish we had another person like here who follows horror to be able to help comment on this further as far as sort of quality measuring, because I haven't seen most of the Hellraiser movies. But just looking at this as a trailer, this doesn't make me want to watch it, mainly because this is not my cup of tea. But I can see how horror movie fans, or in particular Hellraiser fans, might want to check this out. Especially given that this is coming from Hulu, and they just very successfully relaunched the Predator franchise earlier this summer with Prey. That came out in August, and that was an insane runaway success. We actually did a commentary reaction. My colleague Alonzo and I actually did a commentary reaction to Prey that you can actually like listen to in like podcast form and watch along with the movie. It's on our podcast feed, which is in our Linktree page. The link is on the bottom of the screen if you want to check that out. But so my expectations are very high, quite frankly, that Hulu knows what they're doing when it comes to rebooting horror franchises, long dormant horror franchises, given that they're coming right on the heels of having successfully reinvigorated the Predator franchise in a new and unexpected direction. And, you know, I still, so I like that this exists on paper, but again, I keep coming back to why. I keep coming back to that main elephant in the room problem of should this happen? And from a personal standpoint, my personal reaction is no, thumbs down. But that's just my personal reaction. What do you think? Those of you at home who are hopefully like more horror movie fans than I, would you give a thumbs up to this? You know, shoot us a comment in the little comment feed down below by the time y'all get a chance to see this, I guess. And let us know what you think. I'm happy to be proven wrong with my expectations and understanding of this. I'm just sort of like here to offer a starting point. So that's all I have to say on that particular topic, which that was Hellraiser, which is hitting Hulu on October 7th. So those of you who are into the horror genre and are interested in that, mark your calendar for that. And that basically brings us to the end of our playlist tonight. What was the trying to think, what was my favorite from tonight? What was my favorite trailer for tonight? It's going to be something in this first batch. I'll say that right now. Let me see. I'm going to give it to Strange World. I'm going to give my favorite one for the night was Strange World, because that actually sort of gave me something to work with. It wasn't something that had necessarily been done to death a billion times before. It wasn't something that I could foresee literally every story beat coming just from the trailer alone, which is saying something considering this is Disney. And, you know, by now people kind of know the Disney formula, for lack of a better way to put it. But this is Strange World stuck out to me as something that I could see myself actually watching, you know, depending on the circumstances, maybe even in the theater. I don't have any plans to go to the theater for that right now as I sit here, but I could see myself doing that for Strange World. And I don't see myself doing that, for example, for Knock at the Cabin, which is, I mean, they have time. Knock at the Cabin has time to change my mind on that. That movie's not going to be out until February. But Strange World, that's dropping right in time for Thanksgiving. That was a family-friendly project that it looks like is hitting a lot of different beats in what strikes me as the right ways. I hope that assertion is correct, and we'll be able to have that confirmed by the time the movie comes out, and, you know, the press embargoes, the reaction embargoes fully are lifted, and we can talk about it properly. So I'm going to give favorite trailer of the night to Strange World from Disney. Let's go ahead and move on now that all of that is over. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in to our trailer reactions for tonight. It's been an interesting show tonight. Wish we had some better ones to go from. This playlist was kind of difficult tonight to work with, but hey, don't forget, we always have the contact us thing on the Linktree link that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If you have trailers to suggest that we can react to on Friday nights, you can always send us a link there, just so long as it's less than 5 minutes long and not political or religious in nature. So we appreciate your feedback and comments on that. And now we go to the last section of the show tonight, which is dad jokes. We have dad joke of the day, basically, which is what we wrap up our streams with as much as possible here. Let's see. Dad joke of the day. Let me try and go ahead and pull this up here. Here we are. Okay, check this out. Dad joke of the day. A ship carrying red paint and a ship carrying blue paint, red paint and blue paint, collide in the middle of the ocean. Both crews were marooned. Okay. Control, we're going to need to talk about your timing with the trombone thing, because we never seem to get the rim shot. I keep going for rim shots, but it keeps, I don't know. But anyway, whatever. Maybe we'll get that correctly sort of done with a dad joke that's, I guess, maybe more rim shotable, I suppose, than the ones that I've been selecting at random. But all right. Or like I was saying, if you have any interesting and witty wordplay pieces, dad joke that I can use, send us a note. Go to the Linktree page at the bottom of the screen and contact us. I'll be more than happy to read off your dad jokes and give you credit as well. So let us know. Anyway, so that basically is the end of the show tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in to Trailer Reactions, and we will see you right here this coming Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific, for another weird news show. We hope to see you then. For now, I'm Don. Please be safe and have a great weekend. Showcase you later. Good night.